Hey guys, it's me, Julian Greystoke. I'm wearing this Homestar Runner shirt. Yes, I know it has a stain on it. And I'm here with another book review. Yay! It is for a book called Swords and Scoundrels, which was another sort of random find. I think I saw it actually on some other YouTuber's channel, and I was like, sure. I haven't read a sort of light fantasy book, sort of a almost cheesy fantasy book in a while, and that's what this looked like. So I was like, I will give this a chance. I did read it a while ago though, so I'm going to use Candy to give you a synopsis. But first, this. Hey guys, this is the world's fastest reminder that you can support me on Patreon and see all kinds of exclusive videos like these ones. Now back to your regularly scheduled program. This is Candy, by the way, if you're new here and you were like, how is she using Candy to give us a synopsis? That doesn't make any sense. Doesn't make any sense, Jane. So first of all, the cover reminds me a lot of Hansel and Gretel. Is it Hansel and Gretel Vampire Hunters or whatever that movie is? That super cheesy movie that I like because it's super cheesy. It's like that so bad it's good quality, so I enjoy it. And so I was drawn to this and I was like, are we gonna have the same feel like with this book that we did with Hansel and Gretel Vampire Hunters or whatever they were? Hansel and Gretel fighting something. But let's read the synopsis. Two siblings, outcasts for life, together. What could possibly go wrong? Vrocho and Katja are champion duelists, a brother and sister known for the finest swordplay in the city of Reyes, or at least they used to be, until they were thrown out of the Duelists Guild. As a last resort, they turn reluctant highwaymen, but when they pick the wrong carriage to rob, their simple plans to win back fame and fortune go south fast. After barely besting 3 armed men and a powerful magician, Vrocho and Katja take off with an immense locked chest. But the contents will bring them much more than they've bargained for, when they find themselves embroiled in a dangerous plot to return an angry king to power. An angry king. Not like a rightful king. He's an angry king. So Swords and Scoundrels. Since reading it, I have not gone on to read any more in the series. So I think that kind of tells you that while I enjoyed it, it wasn't like a urgent, like, I need to know more kind of situation. So it wasn't as poppy and corny of a ride as I thought it was going to be. Surprisingly, no. There were elements that definitely fit with the cover, you know, the sort of corny looking cover. But it was more serious than I anticipated, which I didn't necessarily find to be a bad thing. It also seems like it might be a fairly simple book with the premise of 2 siblings who are highwaymen, but I think it did rise above that very simple seeming premise to have like a bigger world and greater machinations going on than these 2 characters as individuals, and like there was a lot for them to explore and figure out and puzzle out what was going on. The only thing was I was a little disappointed that it wasn't as much of an action romp as I was hoping for. It actually turned out to be a little bit more political than I expected. And I'm not really into political books, so I wasn't as into those elements. Don't get me wrong, there was action in it, just not as much as I expected from something called Swords and Scoundrels. I found the characters to be pretty likable. The 2 lead characters were of course a big draw for me because I love siblings in books, and siblings who stick together and siblings who watch out for each other, and I think they did a pretty good job with these 2. They definitely have their squabbles, but also they definitely love each other without needing to be overt about it. I wish there had been a little bit more sibling stuff. There did seem to be an effort in the book to kind of separate them from each other every now and then, and you know me, I'd prefer if the siblings were together kicking ass versus being separated, but the book didn't separate them for huge swaths of time, so at least there was that. And also, there was my new favorite character, Dom. There's a twist about Dom that I figured out almost immediately, and the characters it took forever to figure out, and I was like, why are you guys so dumb? It's so obvious what's going on with Dom, and you're just too stupid to know it. But Dom, he has that sort of goofy, rich British guy, foppish archetype going for him, and I love those. I don't know why. I think it's because they always seem like they're going to be one way and then they, you know, turn out to be a deeper well than they initially seem. I love people who seem like they're shallow and then you get to find out that there's a lot more going on with them. Dom, forever. I also enjoyed that this story had a very light romance. There is barely any romance in it, and I was so on board with that. If I remember correctly, I think the male main character is like getting over a relationship. I might be remembering that totally wrong. So he doesn't really have too much going on with romance. It's mostly his sister who has like some romancy stuff going on, but it's really not a main plot, and I am there for that. We really need to start encouraging publishers to not always feel like every book has to have a romance in it. I hear so many people here on AuthorTube and on Twitter saying that they would love to read more books that didn't have any romance at all. But in the publishing industry, there is still a huge emphasis put on having a romance in your book. I'd like a few more that had a little less. This book did seem a little bit steampunk. There were definite steampunk elements to it, especially in the world building. Not so much in that the characters necessarily had like cool steampunk gadgets, but there was some stuff in the world that was very steampunk-esque. I've written down that there was an interesting magic system, but I can't remember it. So check out this book, because I guess past me thought that it had an interesting magic system, but it must not have been that interesting because it didn't stick with me very clearly. And this book had an open ending without a cliffhanger, and I also love that. I get so frustrated with first book in a series, second book in a series that only seem to exist to set up for the final book, and they just string you on and string you on with cliffhanger after cliffhanger, no answers, and that just drives me crazy. You can have a series where characters get answers for some things in book one. Maybe there's a few questions left unanswered that can be in book two, and then book two could raise even more questions, but like, always leaving us hanging, always leaving us unsatisfied is so annoying. And so I'm really glad that this book, while it did have an open ending leading you on to the second book, did not have a big fuck off cliffhanger to make me angry and annoyed. So those are my thoughts on Swords and Scoundrels. I don't know if any of you have read it, probably not, but if you have read it, comment below and let me know what you thought of it. Don't forget, if you liked this review, I have a ton of other book reviews on this channel, so go check all of those out. They're all arranged in a nice playlist for easy binging. And if you liked what you saw here but wish it was higher quality, you can support me on my Patreon, where your donations go towards getting me better equipment. They bought me the light that's currently shining on half of my face. And also, you get all kinds of rewards as well as exclusive content that is available only on Patreon. So videos that you do not get here on this main channel, you can get on Patreon for as little as $1 a month. I post new videos right here on Mondays and Fridays. All the links to my social media are in the doobly-doo for ease of your clicking, and I will see you again next time with whatever it is I happen to be doing next time. Bye! Well, hey everyone, it's shout-out time again. I'm here with this month's patrons: Lennox, Amanda, Thelia, Jenny, Kim, Lisa, Sabby Panda, Sam, and Sarah. Thank you all so much for supporting me. It means a lot.
Time to divide the loot, and I think it's only fair that we should share it equally.
Which I suppose is highwayman's talk for you get the cash, I get the snotty hanky.
No, we did this robbery together, so you get half the cash.
Oh, thank you, Mr. B.
This robbery, on the other hand, I'm doing alone. Hand it over, your money or your life. All fair and above board.
Fair enough.